Welcome, race fans, back to Project Racing. My name is Webbo. Very pleased to be back with you here for round 7 of the Tardis Cup for 2025. This is the Trial Mountain round, and this is how things look after round 6's points have been calculated. We have Tango leading on 158 points, 33 ahead of Cool Breeze, who sits in that second position. However, Tango has had a poor run of form by his incredibly high standards, having failed to win the last 2 feature races. Taffy Dog is in 3rd position on 109 as well, so far as I can see anyway. And the Noticer has 72 in 4th position. Crammy is in 5th, Tarmac Terror is in 6th, and Newcomer Shin has 21 points in 7th and final position at the moment. The drivers are ready on the grid to get underway. This is how things look. We've got the Noticer making what is certainly hoping to be a triumphant return, and in an all-new livery, something reminiscent of the UK police force colour combination and checker pattern or plaid pattern in P7. Then we have Shin qualifying in P6. We have Crammy in P5, and alongside him with a possibly season best qualifying position, I think, if memory serves me correctly, in P4, Tarmac Terror for Redline Syndicate Racing. Taffy Dog qualifies in 3rd position and will start on the hard tyres, as will his teammate Cool Breeze, also on those hard tyres for Western Sydney Racing, and he's added some stars to the back of the car so I can see at least. And Tango starts again also on the hard tyres and ready to get racing then for 36 laps of this fan favourite fantastic circuit here at Trial Mountain. We are ready to get underway for you. Hopefully you guys are ready to enjoy the racing. Tango and Cool Breeze share the front row. We'll be going forwards around and therefore anti-clockwise around the Trial Mountain circuit, a fictional what if type of circuit that we love from many an iteration of the Gran Turismo franchise. We're ready to go. Hope you're ready to enjoy the racing with us. We have a required change of tyre. Hards and mediums are in operation, but a choice of how many of the compounds they desire to run today. Let's get underway then for the next round of the championship here at Trial Mountain. It's drop the clutch and go, go, go. Typically we see the Ferraris starting incredibly well. Tarmac Terror up to 3rd position immediately, then jumping up to 2nd place as Tango and Tarmac Terror take command on the way into turn 1. Tarmac Terror will need to hop over the crest. He may risk picking up a penalty for going quite that far over the apex of the corner as Crammy then dives down in towards that turn 4 long left-hand hairpin, and we head into the difficult off-camber section of the racetrack. Cool Breeze is in 2nd position as Tarmac Terror ran wide, and we've also then got the Noticer, who was swapping positions quite considerably through the course of the race. Already the Noticer getting into his Mercedes AMG counterpart there, Crammy, into the corner. Tango leads us with Cool Breeze in 2nd place. The fight though at the moment over 4th position as Tarmac Terror got himself up there. Taffy Dog with a great run. Tarmac Terror, I think, did have to pay a penalty and lost ground on the hard tyres. He's also picked up a little bit of damage. Hard tyres all around with the exception of Crammy, and I think that's it, just Crammy, who's started on the medium tyres, and he'll be aggressive at the outset then. There he is in P5, and he's also got the Noticer tucked right around the inside. They clatter into each other as the drivers seem to be allowed to run and do this kind of thing here at Project Racing. They're allowed to get a little bit elbows out and rubbins racing, as it were. These are heavy GT cars that are pretty strong and can put up with a little bit of that kind of treatment. And you can see the Noticer has in fact gone for a police livery. I don't know if he was busy playing cops and robbers and forgot to change his livery. Tarmac Terror in 6th position at the moment. Shin trying to generate some tyre temperature on the hard tyres in that BMW that she struggled with in the similar situation in Interlagos. Tarmac Terror trying to both attack and defend from Mercedes-AMG's front and rear. And the Noticer tucking into 6th position. Taffy Dog slow away, it seems, at the moment, with Tarmac Terror fighting very, very hard. Tarmac Terror jumping down the inside into that turn 4 long left-hander, and then unfortunately overspeed at the corner, clatters into the barrier and picks up a little bit of a slowdown there as the Noticer goes for a wide entry, narrow exit. It looked like Shin was tucked out at the in the background, making contact with the curbstone on the outside, and they run through to what is probably the most important corner on the circuit, is the lead up to the long straightaway, as they then go down for a full throttle portion of this fast lap here at the fabulous circuit. We just look to our left there momentarily. I tried to, but I couldn't quite get there, as Crammy in 4th position takes the position away. Let's just have a quick second glance at that one as Crammy took 6th position, jumped into 5th ahead of Tarmac Terror, and then compounding the success going in towards the all-important hairpin at the end of the long straight and getting into 4th place. Then Crammy, remember, on the medium tyres, has a traction advantage at this stage, early stage of this first stint. But then I think he got hit fairly hard there. Let's have another look at what happened. Here is the Noticer getting into the corner. There's Tarmac Terror and the Noticer coming together. I wonder if Tarmac Terror or Crammy, who's your money on, that hit Crammy into the corner? Well, Tarmac Terror looked like he was having all manner of difficulties, but it was indeed the Terror of Redline Syndicate Racing who got into Crammy. Then the Noticer clattered into him. Everybody almost on the circuit picking up damage as Shin goes outside to inside. Brilliant cutback from Shin there, and there's a small straight here down into what is a very, very difficult tight left-hander, and then into a right-hander that you can cut a little bit to lead onto the start-finish straight to finish out lap 2 of the 36, and Shin goes into 5th position. Tarmac Terror in 6th, the Noticer in 7th. Tango still leads this race though, and it has a decent gap over Cool Breeze, but both of them a significant gap over 3rd place Taffy Dog, who through the course of the season, you have to say, if Taffy Dog has had any kind of weakness, it has been the hard tyre stints and getting up to speed early on in our races. So 3rd position for him. We have Shin in 4th place now, and doing a great job early on, but Crammy tucking around the outside on Taffy Dog there. That's an unusual manoeuvre, but Crammy with better grip, and this battle pack of 5 drivers fighting over 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th and 7th position is most entertaining. Tarmac Terror momentarily up to 6th position. The Noticer running wide. Shingo swaps around. It is absolutely frantic action once again from this fabulous Tardis Cup, brought to you by Project Racing here, this Australian league, and they absolutely bring the entertainment. Tarmac Terror from the rear, splitting between the Noticer and Shin and moving up, but then unfortunately outbraking himself once again, which is no mean feat in this Ferrari. Generally has terrific grip, a little bit of weak catch-up boost on the cars to keep the rearmost drivers in the fight, but so Tarmac Terror shouldn't go too far away from this one. There is Shin battling hard, and it's just the drivers just continually getting into this final sector, into that slow left-hander that leads onto the short chute down towards the final chicane. And that is every lap so far we have had pinball action into that final hairpin then. So Shin back down to 7th position, Tarmac Terror right there. The Noticer in 5th, Taffy Dog in 4th place now, because Crammy on the medium tyres is off and has gapped Taffy Dog and is heading off in pursuit of the lead pairing. Tarmac Terror again down the inside very late. Unfortunately though, launched into the air through turn 2 and up into the barrier for Tarmac Terror once again then. So catching, passing and then heading into the barrier, unfortunately seems to be the pattern at the moment for Tarmac Terror. There is Shin just still trying to generate some grip BMW road cars typically not the best handling through the corners, tend to wash out, and I think Shin is finding a similar situation here in the GT3 on GT7. Let's ride with her then and see what's happening. Low grip on the inside of that corner that builds the speed onto this long straight with the fabulous graphic quality and images. A bit of a gap in front. Just going to watch and bide our time to this battle between Taffy Dog and the Noticer. Noticer goes the long way around the outside. Taffy Dog stuck on the slower grip. You can now go directly underneath the overhang of that rock on the left-hand side into the corner. That is a fastest sector for Shin so far. I think using a little bit of the boost advantage as she then weaves left to right. Oh, that's the Noticer having a problem. Let's just check on what happened to the Noticer. Here we go, into the corner, onto the dirty part of the track, well, off the track in fact, actually missing everybody else, thankfully for their sake, and then trying to get this very large, long wheelbase Mercedes AMG GT3 turned around in this police livery. And unfortunately, the bad guys are getting away from the Noticer then, who tries to make this one work, and will try now to catch the back of the train. 151.4558. Tarmac Terror's best lap so far as he exits out of the final corner at the end of lap 4. Starts lap 5 and is drawing alongside Shin. Now, can Tarmac Terror judge the braking zone a little bit more accurately this time? No. No, that's definitely a no then from Tarmac Terror, who, yes, I remember trying to learn this circuit and doing something very, very similar. So it's one of the most challenging circuits on the calendar here, especially this year here in Project Racing. Taffy Dog is in 4th position, has a habit of finding his way back towards the front by the end of the race, but clearly the Porsche not underneath him at the moment. Headlights coming on, going off, coming on and going off again as they go under the tunnels here at Trial Mountain. It's lap 5 of the 36. We've got Tango, Corbury's, Crammy, and then we go for this battle pack of Crammy, Taffy Dog, Shin, Tarmac Terror and the Noticer as they run down the north and longest straight and into the hairpin at the end of that straight. Of course, public roads. This circuit races on with some painted curbings and some off-camber dirty asphalt, and plenty of challenges then. Although these drivers no stranger to road circuits, temporary circuits here this season in the Tardis Cup. That is Tarmac Terror then, recatching Shin. The Notice there's still some distance away here as Tarmac Terror getting into the final chicane here, quite neat and tidy actually, in comparison to how he manages to go through the first couple of corners. But unfortunately picked up too much of an apex, I think, as he ran through that section, and we join him on board to see his journey through turn 1, 2 and 3. This time he's reining it in, I think, getting a good drive out. Then you've got the double left here, building towards a very slow, highly cambered tunnel section. Awkward and difficult to find your apex through here. And Shin then moving around. There's a late dive from Tarmac Terror to the inside of Shin. They go side by side on the way out. And that's a personal best time from Tarmac Terror, who navigated the first sector with a lot more ease this time. And he'll be looking for a cutback, I think, here. Very wide entry, very early apex. Very early power on the late apex on the way out of the corner. This should set him up well here as he gets fully alongside Shin, who moves to one side. Little touch perhaps, but both drivers closing in on each other. Tarmac Terror will pick up a penalty to pay towards the end of this lap. Just managing the brakes neat and tidy down into the apex, washing out the very final stage of braking. There was Tarmac Terror. But he's got that 1 second penalty to pay, just misjudging the grip available. Shin goes right round the outside of Taffy Dog and almost converts that into an overtake into 5th position, but unfortunately running out of grip through the phase of the corner there when it was so important. Tarmac Terror very much leaving the door open to a move then from Taffy Dog, the slowdown penalty will take effect momentarily, and now Shin gets into the back of Tarmac Terror. That will upset the handling of both cars, and in fact the Noticer moves forward. Taffy Dog had a very troublesome run through that corner. Let's have a look what happened to him. Oh, he got hit by Tarmac Terror, and then twice, in fact, once and twice, and then trying to regain the car. It's so easy to spin the car coming through. He also grabbed a lot of apex there going through the final corner, excuse me, Taffy Dog now back down to P6, unfortunately. Tango leads us ahead of Cool Bruce, who is catching Tango, and they're both on the same tyre. Whether they'll be running the same tyre strategy for the whole race remains to be seen. But at the moment, Taffy Dog stuck at the back here with Tarmac Terror. Here is Tarmac Terror's teammate, Tango. That's a lot of T's to say in close succession as the number 3 for Redline Syndicate Racing continues his fantastic pace. But Cool Breeze not a huge distance away. He can see Tango and can try and gain position here. 151.1 that last lap, his best lap of 50.6. That is nearly a second slower than Tango's best lap, but a 50.4 was his last lap. So they are there or thereabouts, and we go 4 cars all together here. The Noticer has picked up a penalty at this point on the lap. As Shin dives down the inside, 2 penalties on those two German-made cars, the Mercedes and the BMW. That means that Taffy Dog will try to get some distance here. If he can just stop being rear-ended into the final couple of corners, I think he will be able to open a gap. This is an odd race so far from Taffy Dog. I think he will come good later in the race if he can get those medium tyres on and find some balance. But this is a strange one for him. I think I just saw the possible hint of him steering to the inside to avoid the braking zone when a car is following him in close proximity. The Noticer and Shin will now duck out of the throttle. That will allow Taffy Dog, Tarmac Terror and Crammy to move forward, and they do exactly that. But Shin and the Noticer will be locked together in battle. Whether they will continue to recatch this group, it remains to be seen. But Tarmac Terror with a nice wide entry into turn 1 gets a good cutback going through turn 2 in towards turn 3, and he's closing in. There's a gap there to the inside. He's being invited to go for it by Taffy Dog, who fails to get to the apex this time round. But those hard tyres on the Porsche really troublesome today for the Western Sydney Racing driver and league owner, I believe, Taffy Dog. Tarmac Terror in that 5th place, stuck on the inside at the moment, but hanging on here as both cars will try and take advantage of the tow down this long straight. Taffy Dog is doing exactly the same thing. We look to our right and there's the cop car of the Noticer, but Tarmac Terror has only eyes for the apex as we arrive towards that all-important and very slow, very big stop. Oh, it just avoids, I think, contact with Crammy, and Crammy and Taffy Dog play a game of breaking chicken into the corner, and that time Crammy coming off the better. Taffy Dog stuck back down. Crammy, though, I imagine has got to be feeling the tyres pretty soon. Let's have a look at his tyre wear. Yeah, it's about 50% tyre wear at the moment for the bright blue Bitcoin racer. No, excuse me, it's a Ruthra racer. Crammy. I'm not sure what team Shin is on at the moment either. So whether her team is yet to be declared or she is just Team Shin or Team BMW, I'll have to get an update on. Some great switchback activity going on there. Very cool racing from Tarmac Terror, the Noticer and Shin as they find each other's racing lines and try and do something different. And they're approaching the first corner then, 3 wide on the way in, but the Tarmac Terror just getting ahead as he overestimated the speed. No, he's really got a good run going on. Looks like Taffy Dog slightly slow again through that chicane, but just blocking the apex slightly. Tarmac Terror ducking down the drop then at the bottom of the camber. Shin following through. A very muscular overtake that time from Shin. She turns into the corner, but Taffy Dog is right there and hanging on to that inside lane. This is looking very, very fun indeed. Let's join Shin on board, shall we? sorry, this is Taffy Dog. As Tarmac Terror goes wide, Shin comes down the inside, and we'll probably have a better view of it from the bonnet here of the Noticer, who gets a terrific run out of the corner on this long straight. Can't easily tuck in for the slipstream as Tarmac Terror, Taffy Dog and Crammy are playing follow my leader down this long straight. Crammy peeling across the inside, Taffy Dog likewise. Looks like Shin might be on our left. She is down at the bottom of the biggest stop on the racetrack as they go from VMAX all the way down into second gear. Shin tucking in, and wow, that was a great overtake. Now a big slide, and Shin up to 5th position momentarily at least. The Noticer getting through and past, and Shin, unfortunately though, she had a great slide but spent too long off circuit and on throttle. The Noticer smoothly on by past Crammy, who's probably suffering on the traction zone here. He's also suffering to get the braking action completed into the penultimate corner. Crammy crabbing in that short gap in the final chicane, and kind of clattering off the left driver, right driver. Shin taking the penalty and dropping right down now off the back of this group. It's lap 10 of the 36. Tango continues to lead. Coolbreeze is not far away, but this group are miles away from the lead two, and continuing to battle hard and pretty much cost each other time here. The boost not really helping the midfield catch the leaders. It's helping the tailmost runner catch their rivals. Another four-way battle continues then on this lap 10, and it has just been door-to-door, wheel-to-wheel action so far. Shin already catching very neatly. The latest I've heard is that the boost seems to temporarily lighten the vehicle, seems to be good everywhere, braking, accelerating, top speed and everything. But look at this as they all come back through, all 5 drivers. We've got Taffy Dog, then now it's his turn to be pinballed between the left and right drivers. Crammy leading them down this long straightaway. Them trying to find a little bit of room. It's a very wide circuit. It's essentially a highway down under the tunnel here, but still they continue to touch all over the place. Shin with the cutback. A nice manoeuvre. Now, can she avoid the sliding this time through this deceptively slow sector? And she manages to avoid contact as well this time. And down into the slow left-hander then. Shin getting that BMW tucked in nicely into the camber of the corner at the bottom of the slope section. Taffy Dog up into this penultimate corner now, the final chicane, and sliding the car, making a tiny bit of contact, and Taffy Dog back into the provisional podium position, and looking good out there at the moment. Looks like Crammy really suffering. He's got a little bit of damage affecting the car right now, and that front left on the medium tyre is starting to suffer, and there he goes. Oh dear me, now he's got matching damage on the left as well as across the front, when absolutely flying across the first chicane there. Very late on the brakes, kind of asking a lot of those front right and rear right tyres. Somehow or other managing to get back ahead of Tarmac Terror. They must be having an absolute blast in the cockpit as they race here, the Project Racing crew. Must be a hell of a lot of fun to take part in a race where the drivers are so closely matched at the moment. The Noticer, there's definitely no missing the Noticer here with his livery. I don't know if it's a familiar livery for Australian or New South Wales police. I'm not sure if the Noticer is in New South Wales or Victoria or where he actually hails from, but yes, the Noticer then making sure that we notice him on the circuit. He's got an all orange kit inside the cockpit as well. You can see scratches, a cracked light on the front right there, and that won't go away, the cosmetic damage. Way then into close out this 11th lap. Was the Noticer very, very slow at the apex. Crammy still looking for anything. Noticer trying not to have any kind of contact on the way out. Tarmac Terror now in 6th position, was at the back. Now it's the Notice's turn to be at the back of the grid. Cool Breeze still hanging with Tango. Crammy with an identical issue as they now go side by side. They both hit the barrier, Shin and Crammy, and just both drivers failing to leave enough room at the apex of the corner. Let's perhaps have another look at what that looked like here. We're going into turn 1, taking a very late manoeuvre, and then essentially guiding Crammy, who ends up driving us or Shin directly into the barriers, and they have to recollect then. And hopefully they were in a driver chat together and can apologise and sort themselves out. But that's a big gap to close up. So it will just be a three-way battle now over this 3rd, 4th and 5th position as Tarmac Terror gets right into it once again. There's again another nerf in the back for Taffy Dog from the Noticer. Couldn't really help it, I think, there, as Taffy Dog was on a different line, having to be slower at the apex, and the Noticer had probably committed to his angle and his power, his throttle delivery. Big gap behind the Noticer as we run down this long straightaway, and we'll check out where our leaders are in a moment. But it's Taffy Dog versus Tarmac Terror. Taffy Dog round the outside, and now they're trying to decide who is going to break the latest. Well, Tarmac Terror won that particular battle. He drifts out wide on the way out of the all-important hairpin, and over another crested chicane with blind exit here into the moving through into the 3rd sector of this 3-sector raceway. This is Trial Mountain, set in a fictional part of the United States. Down we go into the left-hander then once again for Taffy Dog, who takes 3rd position. Tarmac Terror managing to outbrake himself, I think, through that sequence. The Noticer chases down Tarmac Terror. They'll be hoping to get through this turn 1 and 2 a little bit safer. It looks like the gap at the front has opened out slightly now. Noticer going down the inside into turn 1. We've seen this going wrong for drivers, and it's gone wrong for the Noticer, who does hit the barrier on the right, doesn't get slammed into the barrier on the left on his way out, but it was pretty close run thing. Crammy closing in now, but Shin's got a way to go before she can close in on this battle. Once again, it's lap 13 of the 36. Tarmac Terror in 4th position. We're not even at the halfway point of the race yet. Crammy hasn't pitted off his medium tyres. It looks like it's a very looks like a fairly easy day on the hard tyres. They'll be pretty consistent all the way up until the point that they're not on the hard tyres. They do seem to drop off a cliff quite quickly when you get to about 80%, 85% wear on your most worn tyre. Then you start getting into trouble. Identical cars though, in terms of build and aerodynamics. The two Mercedes AMGs going side by side into the tight hairpin at the end of the longest straight, and the Noticer moves his way into 5th place by Tarmac Terror, making his own mistake, I think, at that point. Looks like Taffy Dog at the head of this group at the moment. Crammy closing in once again. Still no sign that Crammy's tyres are completely dying on him, and he hasn't got into the pit lane. That was on the left on the way through here. The Shin just about to enter that zone. The Noticer going very long on the brake pedal into the penultimate corner again. But Tarmac Terror has a 1.5 second penalty to pay next time round, because it only took effect, I think, in the final 2 corners, or at least in the final sector anyway. This is the Noticer just using the barrier on the outside. I don't think that was entirely deliberate. And over, and all 4 drivers making it through the first 2 corners safely, but Crammy, by the time he gets through the exit of turn 3, is a little bit stuck. Tarmac Terror has picked up another penalty. I think that might be wall contact then as he goes through there. Looking for a good exit here is the Noticer. Tempted to put the sirens on, I think, in his police car. It's just a strip across the windscreen, though, his siren effect. He hasn't got a safety car livery, so it makes me think this is just a standard police livery. rather than it being an actual cops and robbers. Usually you do that in the safety cars, as Crammy and Tarmac Terror are side to side, can continue just to make contact here. So it's a very wide section of the track. I don't know why they have to touch quite so often. Once again, the noticer going a little bit long and deep into the corner opens the opportunity there. Great hold from Crammy. It's definitely a style point, but he's going to pick up a penalty, I think, if he's not careful and he makes contact with the noticer. I'd be surprised if Crammy can avoid a penalty, but I think he has done. Down in 5th position. Tarmac Terror jumps down into 4th place now. Crammy's still not in the pits. Is that the noticer heading towards the pit lane? Well, he was took to the left-hand side of the racetrack, but he didn't go for it. Tarmac Terror in 4th place, having a very competitive race here, you have to say, for his regular pace. The Shin is catching. Sorry, just Shin, not the Shin. Shin is catching and has caught and has now passed Tarmac Terror, who's paying off that very expensive 3-second penalty. Back up to the front of the grid. We hardly ever spend a lot of time watching Tango, and there's a fairly good reason for it. He's just too damn good. But Cool Breeze has been closer, but is running out of fuel, I think, at the moment. Has just 1 lap of fuel left. Tango able to go faster than Cool Breeze, use less tyres and less fuel. Part of that is down to the Ferrari. I do think we probably need to do something about Tango and add a bit of ballast here, because he's operating at just such a high level with his tyre wear. But obviously the drivers did all come together at the end of both Interlagos and at the Red Bull Ring, so we can probably sort of bear it in mind that the strategies will come together. But Tango today at least looks to have a distinct pace advantage, and at the same time as doing a fantastic job. That goes Tarmac Terror splitting down the inside, but he got there because he was too late on the brakes again. Tarmac Terror with contact with the barrier. Cool Breeze pits off the hard tyres before Crammy has pitted off the medium. So the Porsches really chewing through their tyres like crazy today. I'm expecting Crammy to head in towards the pit lane. Here he comes. This is the entry into the pit lane for him as his bright blue mechanics. You're not going to miss those guys, as the Noticer's bright orange mechanics also come out into the pit lane at the same time. Cool Breeze into the pits then. I'm surprised to see that, but maybe he'd run out of fuel as well. Taffy Dog moving up into 2nd place for just the briefest moment. I think Cool Breeze is going to exit the pits almost alongside him. He does so. Now he'll have to find out what it's like driving with Tarmac Terror and with Shin there for a moment, but Tarmac Terror neutralising himself going through turn 1, but it is a tremendously difficult corner. It's lap 16 of 36. Tarmac Terror getting right down neat and tidy into that turn 4 left-hander, and Cool Breeze with a new set of hard tyres on. He's done 15 laps on one set. He will do probably something similar on a 2nd set of hard tyres, and then I wonder if he will switch to either a soft or a medium for the final stint of the race. I think it's going to be a 2-stopper for Cool Breeze. They'll need to do another 2 laps if they want to make it into a 1-stopper and use the same tyres. Taffy Dog's done a great job here on the hard tyres as well. Tango comes into the pits. He is so far ahead of his rivals. This is pretty astonishing. He's a full sector of the racetrack ahead, and maybe even more than that, of Taffy Dog here on the same strategy. Way more than that against Cool Breeze on a slightly different phase of his race. The 101 of Shin tries to turn into the left-hander, gets a little bit of lime green and black Ferrari into that rear quarter. Tango still fueling up at the moment. It's a big ask then on the fuel. I think it's too much to ask to get home in a 1-stop race. Taffy Dog could go round and will go round to start his 17th lap on the hard tyres. Looks like he may well have fuel to do this in one stop, and what he may be doing, which may explain his his slower run here, as he may be turning the engine down for this first phase of the race, so that he can just do a one-stop race. We shall see how far he can go. He may get one more lap or two more laps, or maybe even three out of the tyres and the fuel. 152s is his current pace, 52.3 Tango, 51.8 prior to his pit stop. So wasn't that far away from Taffy Dog's average pace, although Taffy has had a few 154s in his run so far. Tango has had three 1 minute 50s, 150, the same three that Coolbury's was running on the low fuel, I think. Shin and Tarmac Terror. I feel like closing my eyes as they go into a corner side by side once again. And there goes Tarmac Terror out on the outside. Tried to get it stopped very late. Now he and Shin go through this very technical, slow section of the racetrack, side by side once again as Tarmac Terror goes over the crest, down, deep down into the left-hander. And Shin struggling to maximise the exit there. I think the tyres started to give up. Fuel light is flashing for Shin, but she is going to try and do another lap, and that will be one more lap, but it looks like it might be one lap too many for the rear tyres, as she gets slightly offline and a little bit trigger happy on the accelerator, and then has to quite slowly crawl out of the next corner to get away. Crammy paying a penalty, the Notice are paying a penalty in 6th and 7th. Tango leads though, as he has done right from the very start of the race. He got pole position. He doesn't have the fastest lap, I think, because the Noticer is able to use that boost. A 145.7, that is 5 seconds faster than than Tango was some 6-7 laps ago. I wonder if he will be able to get anywhere near that. I think not. Tango in first position with a gap, a very, very healthy looking, impressive gap to the car behind. Now Taffy is on his halfway lap here, his lap 18 of the 36, has enough tyres and fuel to keep going. I think he can one-stop this, and if he has been running with a turned down engine, he can then probably turn it up for the latter phase of the race. Maybe not the entire second half of the race, but I think he might be driving a pretty smart race here at the moment. Coolbury's in third place on the hard tyres. Remember, it was only Crammy that started on the mediums, and he's gone for a second set of mediums. They don't know, the drivers generally, what their rivals are doing strategically, especially if they're in VR. They can't see the tyre selection of their rivals. I know that one for absolute certainty. Tarmac Terror now pits from 4th place. That will promote Crammy. It's an interesting way into the pit lane here. It's very straight, very quick pit lane entries. There's two very slow corners on the racing line as the drivers run through. So Taffy Dog moves up to 3rd. Coolbury's got ahead of Taffy Dog just a moment ago. The Western Sydney Racing drivers swapping positions there. Coolbury's on brand new tyres. Taffy Dog going round for a 19th lap, and now his fuel light is flashing. That usually means you're into 2 laps or less, 2 laps or fewer, I should say, of fuel remaining on the car. So I don't know if he will now elect to continue and go in at the end of this lap and try and stop. He got his personal best just 1 lap ago as the fuel is disappearing on the car. So there's no point going into the pit lane with fuel left on the car. I think he has been essentially going slow on this first phase of the race. He's not too far away, and he'll be hoping that he and the cars in front of him still have a pit stop left, 1 pit stop left to make, and he's in a fairly good position here to try and at least challenge his teammate for P2. Crammy looking quick on the medium tyre against Taffy Dog's very oldest hard tyres on the grid, I believe. Noticer is out on the medium tyres. Here is Tarmac Terror on brand new hard tyres, as is Shin in 7th. Tango moves round into the final sector. Coolberry's in second. Taffy Dog moves to the left. I think he will be coming in now. Yes, indeed. So he comes into the pit lane, the last driver to pit at the end of lap 19, which is a terrific run for Taffy Dog for Western Sydney Racing. I think we'll be seeing a new set of hard tyres. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me if he goes for a two-stopper now from this point in the race, but we will see. He knows his strategy much better than I do, I have to say. This is Trial Mountain. This is round 7 of the Tardis Cup, brought to you by Project Racing. My name is Webbo. I've been very happy to be part of this league now for a large number of races. And thank you to everybody for the support, for both bringing me in and for subscribing to the channel, for liking, for joining the channel as a member, or taking part in using the thanks button, or buying a Webbo t-shirt or something from the merch store. All of those options are available to you, of course, and any support is very well and gratefully received. This is Crammy with an overtake on the noticer. We'll do a quick little replay of that one as they go into the left-hander. It was a nice switch back from the noticer. Great exit from the corner, and then they will probably run side by side down this long stretch. Then Crammy could do with picking up the toe a little bit quicker than this, I think, to get that overspeed and be within a chance here of an overtake. But he's going to try and hope that the noticer either has to brake earlier or fails to brake late enough, we should say. And in the end, it's Crammy who doesn't get down to the apex, the noticer moving through. This is him then going through the tight and twisty section of the racetrack in the third and final sector of the racetrack. Taffy Dog did come out on a second set of hards, and I think might be able to turn the engine up a little bit towards the end of this race. But 6th position for Taffy. I wonder what his deficit then is. It's going to be a pit stop plus a little bit to his teammate. His in-lap was a 1:52.9, so it was not too slow an in-lap there. It's putting in, obviously, a slower outlap now, just to bring the tyres up to temperature. Into the penultimate corner, that final chicane section. Eating away at the apex, and the grass on the off-track section. Firing through, Taffy Dog, that lap of 2:12 with the fuel and tyres going in. So that will have hurt significantly. And I think he's got a pit stop plus a little bit to his teammate, but he'll be targeting 3rd place today, I think, at very least. Taffy Dog, lap 21 of 36. Some of these drivers will be nearing the point where they'll be thinking about their second stop. The 2 medium tyre runners on this stint are Crammy and the noticer. Coolberry's on the hards. Oh, excuse me. Tango extending now on the mediums. I think that confirms Tango is definitely on a 2-stop. I imagine everybody is, with the exception of Taffy Dog today. Noticer getting the car stopped better this time after the long straight. You've got so long to think about where you're going to brake. Sometimes it's too long and you get out of your flow and your rhythm. Great sounding car, the Mercedes AMG. And we have to hesitate significantly around that corner to get the power down. All the way down to 1st gear. There's a wall that greets you on the exit of that penultimate corner. The exit of final corner is also quite tricky with the pit wall right there. Notice they're getting good traction, good little bit of aerodynamic help from the car in front, from Crammy in that P3. This is the battle for P3, let's not forget, as the noticer gets a lot out of the first apex. It kind of pushes him into the apex of turn 2. Down to 2nd gear then, as we drop down, actually all the way down to 1st. Right in the middle of our racing order then, and he and Crammy nice and close together. The closest two rivals at the moment, but Tarmac Terror is closing in. I say it has been an impressive and very competitive race so far from Tarmac Terror. Did just catch the inside curb, I think, on the way through. Turn 8. This is the long run down to the hairpin at turn 9. We may see an overtake or a mistake into this corner, but actually both drivers pretty smooth, pretty calm. Crammy a bit long, a bit deep into the corner, but dealing with it okay. And the noticeable just wasn't close enough to risk a move. Tarmac Terror on the hard tyres is doing great here, really, to catch the two medium runners, and the nose lifting up over the crest there on the drop down the hill. Crammy off the circuit, unfortunately for him, and getting those tyres very dirty and cold. Tarmac Terror, unfortunately, getting bested there by Crammy and unable to capitalise. But now we're back to four-way racing here. Shin is still at the back of the grid in P7, but I think planning a late race comeback. Taffy Dog will be nervous about this, because to make his strategy work, he needs to be running his own pace. Tarmac Terror, unfortunately, once again, getting battered around here. Unfortunately, though, it was partly due to his own doing. You'll see him go into the corner slightly too narrow, slightly too fast, and then I think he starts collecting the car. There he was, much later on the brakes, off into the barrier. As he rejoins unsafely, Taffy Dog hits him, and then as he rejoins unsafely for the second time, he gets booted by the Noticer, who suffers a little bit more out of that one. Taffy Dog surviving okay, but with a little bit of damage. Oh, he gets a 3-second penalty. This is exactly what Taffy Dog doesn't need when he's trying to make that one-stop work. He needs the smoothest, least dramatic run through the race that he possibly can, and he's got to be building a little bit of frustration here, because by running what I suspect to be a detuned engine, maybe running mix 2 or 3, possibly turning it back up for the run up the up this long straight, but through the majority of the race seems to have extended his advantage. But he just needs to not be in these situations. Diving down the inside. I don't know if we can even make the corner here. Well, thankfully Crammy turned into us and arrested our speed somewhat on the way through. Crammy down to P6 now. It's, oh, massively late lunge there. Tarmac Terror saw it coming, allowed him the space at the apex, and again you see how close these cars come to lifting the nose off the ground. Tarmac Terror getting the cutback done fantastically. Tarmac on the hard tyres, Crammy and the Noticer on the mediums at this point. Big slowdown coming for Taffy. He's just got to hope, really, that the other drivers that he's been racing with and hoping to close in on later, he's got to hope, really, that they have their own errors and mistakes. Taffy Dog, Tarmac Terror, side by side on the way down into turn 1. Taffy hanging on there at the moment and staying with the group here to use the aerodynamic slipstream. Tarmac Terror now the next one with a penalty. It's that first chicane, I think. And there's not a lot Taffy Dog could have done to avoid that contact, other than just not be too close to those drivers in front. But of course, you want to take advantage of any opportunity. There's a sniff of an opportunity into turn 6 there. Excuse me, turn 7. This is turn 8 now. The lead on to the long straight. Number 6 for Taffy Dog with his official Project Racing race number sticker placement there on the left of the screen. We've got the Noticer's police car livery going deep into turn 9, and as they run out of the corner, there are actually 3 abreast. Crammy was deep into the corner, the Noticer was the tightest into the corner, and we'll see Tarmac Terror pick up a penalty. Shin is closer than she was before, here in the BMW, making best use of the boost. I think I'd like to see Shin pick a new livery, because this has a feel of a default livery to me. I'd like to see Shin with a proper race number and livery. So if she's watching, let's try and you don't even have to design your own, but pick a new one and maybe make it your own a little bit with an adjustment would be sweet. Tarmac Terror paying his penalty now, unfortunately. I'll tell you what, I'll give you a challenge to Shin. Make a more tasteful livery than the Noticers today. I don't think that's a particularly difficult challenge, but perhaps the Noticer just Noticer by name and Noticer by nature. Crammy picking up another 3-second penalty, and I think that might be contact with the wall that time. That's Crammy then. Medium tyres for himself and his Mercedes AMG counterpart, the Noticer. Different teams. If memory serves me correctly, I believe Crammy is in Aruthra and the Noticer in his Bitcoin racing team. Tarmac Terror, a Redline Syndicate racing driver, and of course his colleague Tango with Coolbreeze and Taffy Dog, the Western Sydney racers. As Crammy gets a good run down the long straightaway in towards turn 9, and hanging on then Crammy to P4, but that won't live very long. Taffy Dog has that P3, has a little bit of help from the boost, now also has the fastest lap, a 1:42. That is now 10 seconds faster than he managed on his most recent lap of 52.6. His best of 42.8. So 9.8 seconds, I suppose. I should be slightly more accurate there, but absolutely incredible pace with the boost at the back of the grid after his pit stop. And of course the boost does complicate matters when you come to make your strategic choices here. Shin is now catching this group, which is great to see. Crammy drops to P7, Shin up to P6, and Tango continues to lead our race ahead, and significantly ahead of Coolbreeze. Tango on the mediums, Coolbreeze may be trying to get the tyres home here, but his fuel looking very much worse for wear, so I think he's gone for a fairly aggressive lower fuel stint. It's lap 26 of the 36, 10 laps plus the end of the one that they're on to go. Now Coolbreeze has got 4 stars on the back of his car. I believe he's only got 2 feature race wins so far, but maybe he's counting previous seasons. Tango has the 4 stars on the back for 4 wins so far this race. In fact, you can see them just under the wing mirror as well. And then I did just notice 4 stars under Coolbreeze's Red Bull Ring sticker on the track there, on the back of the car. Now, I believe he's only got 2 feature wins for this Tardis Cup, this 2025 Tardis Cup. So I don't know if he's claiming wins from previous sequences, but I also don't quite understand why the Red Bull Ring sticker is still on the car either. Taffy Dog and Tarmac Terror are fighting. Tarmac Terror going wide, and Shin can't avoid him, and they run into each other. Hopefully Shin didn't get a penalty for that. I think, yeah, she did, unfortunately. Looks like we've got contact penalties on pretty strict here, or race control here at Trial Mountain, and doing their level best to dissuade contacts such as this. Shin and the Noticer now getting into it. The Noticer's gone into the pit, so it's Crammy versus Shin, and they've both got penalties to pay. Shin half a second more here than the Noticer, than Crammy. The Noticer in P7 runs through, 10 laps to go for everybody now. I don't think we will have any lapping going on. No, that's not going to happen today. But Coolbreeze isn't going to get 10 laps of this race out of that fuel tank, unfortunately. What about Tango? It's possible. It's possible on the fuel. It's going to be quite something on the tyres if he gets the medium tyres through to more than half distance here, Tango. But he's just trying to float the car around this difficult circuit. Taffy Dog in third. The entire second sector separating Taffy Dog's third place to Tango's lead, and probably half of the straight, separating the third place from second position. Crammy and Tarmac Terror must be sick of the sight of each other at this point. Tango now does pit off the medium tyres. He might be going for a fastest lap, but that's going to be difficult at the head of the field with the boost, keeping the pack together at least, or helping to keep the pack together. Crammy in fourth, Tarmac Terror in fifth. I think Crammy may have just touched the inside curb there, unfortunately, as he comes through the corner. Next up, so making a very good run of things at the moment, our fabulous racers here. And there's Tarmac Terror flashing the lights. I don't think that's deliberate, but it could be. it could be quite deliberate there from him to just indicate that he's feeling a little bit less than well treated. We shall see. Tarmac Terror in fifth place, Shin in sixth, Crammy in fourth, Taffy Dog in third, and we have Cool Breeze in second, Tango in at first position. The Noticer, after his pit stop, back out on a new set of medium tyres, about 3/4 of a tank, 2/3 of a tank of fuel remaining then for him. Should be well and truly fueled to a finish, as I expect Tango is. Probably over-fueled in the middle stint, but he's gone for a new set of medium tyres. Looks like Tango running low on fuel now. So Taffy will be hoping that he can catch and pass Cool Breeze, and that Cool Breeze will be held up being passed by his the drivers behind him, Crammy, Shin, Tarmac Terror. As they currently appear, Tarmac Terror hitting the barrier again. It's going to be a very damaged looking car by the end of proceedings today, unfortunately for Tarmac Terror. It could be better, unfortunately, but I know that he's doing his absolute utmost. Tarmac Terror and Shin going side by side down the long straight. Tarmac Terror on the brakes now into turn one. This has been a bit of his Achilles heel. Sorry, Tarmac Terror, but it's not untrue. Shin now up to fifth position then, thanks to being able to move through. So Shin doing what she needs to do at the moment. Shin about halfway worn on the front right tyre as we close in on the final portion of our race. Shin will be doing very well to have another good finish, as she did in Interlagos. It looks like it's back to normal service though for Tango, who in the early part of our season was completely unbeatable. Lately he has definitely been beatable and been beaten, but yes, he's hoping, I think, that he can open up some gap now and some comfort in the championship. Whether he ends up with making every race at the championship remains to be seen, but he's building a almost unassailable cushion, you have to say, at this point. So let's see if he can make it to the end of the race. Tango P1. Cool Breeze now pits. This is really important for our race. We look like we've got cartoon tyres waiting for Cool Breeze. I think that's a slight glitch in the game there. It's almost looked like Formula 1 for a moment. The Noticer in P2, Shin in P3. Quite what happened to Taffy Dog is beyond me. Let's see if we can just see where... Oh, it was a spin at just the worst possible moment for Taffy Dog as he spins going through the penultimate corner, loses several positions. He is trying to get this car home, and I don't know if it's a deliberate thing with his feeling a lack of speed at Trial Mountain, or quite what the situation is here for Taffy Dog. It's very unusual to see him off the pace to this extent, but he's tried to make this one work on the hard tyres with a one-stop strategy. Unfortunately, he's been caught behind other drivers. He's accidentally picked up penalties. I think he'll be glad to see the back of Trial Mountain by the end of it. Cool Breeze, though, is behind him. There is still a chance of a podium here. He's not completely out of sight, Taffy Dog, but it is now about absolutely error-free driving for the rest of the remaining 6 laps plus the one that they are on still to go. So he tries to fire out of the slow turn 8 for the long run down the north straightaway under different portions of the tunnel through the skylit areas of the track. Can't see Shin to the right because she's now in his mirrors, trying to anticipate what Tarmac Terror is going to do next. Tarmac Terror currently on for a podium potentially here. The Noticer is a little bit further away from this group. Tarmac Terror, where can we see the Noticer? In front? Not really. He's down in that slow left-hander that has such a tight and narrow situation. Shin with a big slide there, coming through that slow corner, but hanging on very skillfully. Taffy Dog down into this last chicane. A crinkled and crumpled front bumper of the Porsche. Won't get much in resale value for that. I think a new panel needing to be fitted in between our on round 7 and round 8 of the championship. The Noticer in that second place now as he climbs the hill, heads over the crest. Taffy Dog, his target is in sight. He's got a provisional podium at the moment. He knows that Cool Breeze is going to be quick. Shin has picked up a penalty, sadly to say. 1 second penalty to pay then for Shin here on the next time around the start-finish straight. And there is Cool Breeze. New medium tyres, not a lot of fuel on board, enough to finish the race. Cool Breeze sticking with his Senna helmet, but not his green and yellow Interlagos Western Sydney Racing option paint scheme that he was rocking last time out. So yes, interesting. It was great to see a guest livery. I wonder if we will see any new guest liveries later on, as you can see Shin then with this battle-worn, battle-scarred I should say, BMW M Series GT3, and we've got Tarmac Terror in P6 in the Ferrari Crammy, down in the tail of the field with a little bit of damage on the car, losing out here and not really able to capitalise. Look at how clean and sweet looking this Ferrari is, completely untouched, Tango, and that tells you everything about the driver. If the gap didn't tell you what you need to know, the fact that he is not touched or caused the tiniest bit of visual damage on the car is quite remarkable. Here is the Noticer in P2. You can see the drivers behind him. In fact, let's look at what he can see from behind as he kicks up the dirt there. Oh, Cool Breeze has made a fantastic move up the order. Let's try and track that. As I was going through the field, you can see Cool Breeze has used the slipstream down the long back straight, catching teammate Taffy Dog, heading into turn 9 now. And here comes Cool Breeze right round the outside. It's those great medium tyres, uses the marbles, still gets the drive away and gets tucked into the next right-hander, and he's absolutely loving those tyres, I'm sure. Taffy Dog might be regretting his one-stop strategy at this point. He's going to be fighting with Shin here, despite the fact that Shin has to pay a penalty on the next time round. That's not going to feel particularly comfortable, I think, at the moment. So, working the wheel, Taffy Dog down into that penultimate corner, incredibly slow section. These giant GT3 cars, you don't realise how big the GT3 cars until you put them in a mixed field with GT4's regular road cars. They are absolutely enormous, these ones. So there's a lot to do, a lot of weight to handle in the cars. It really explains the amount of tyre wear, but of course the top speed is ferocious. How about Tarmac Terror down the inside this time? Wow, that was a great move into turn 3. I want to see that one again from Tarmac Terror, because he's been so loose through the first sector of this racetrack. He's really struggled, but this was a great run on the hard tyres and outside to inside, just keeping half a tyre on the racetrack, and a great run into 4th position. Please don't undo it, Tarmac Terror. Oh, he's okay. He's just stayed out of the barrier. He's running in 5th place at the moment, and I think he may be in with a shout of another Driver of the Day award, because he has been in the mix through the course of this race. The number 99, his teammate racing the number 3, Daniel Ricciardo style. I hope he doesn't mind me making that comparison. Taffy Dog in 4th. Coolbury's in 3rd place now, as they both try and catch the Noticer, but the Noticer has unlocked some great pace. He qualified last, don't forget. He's now running in P2, and he could be on for a podium here. I think it might be tough to hang on to 2nd place, but Coolbury's not quite getting the same pace. He had a 1:47 that previous lap, stuck near the back of the grid, but of course that boost will no longer be being applied. The Noticer's last lap, the last 2 laps, 51.7 and a 51.5. Coolbury's prior to that was running in the 52s on worn tyres. I may have spoken too soon here. Coolbury's has caught very well. 4 laps to go here for the drivers as Coolbury's goes down the inside and clears the Noticer, who unfortunately has had a spin. And here he is in 2nd place. What happened to the Noticer? I think he was caught looking in his mirrors, missed his braking zone. Oh, what a massive shame for the Noticer. Going from 2nd position down to 7th and unable to turn the car back to where he wanted it to be. And that is going to really hurt his chances now of a good result, with just 4 complete laps to run for the Noticer as he crosses that finish line. Crammy, massive tank slapper, but crosses back directly in front of Tarmac Terror. Tarmac Terror, I think, pausing and allowing Crammy back through, but more damage on the car. Maybe he was just recovering the car, but Shin back. I keep wanting to call her the Shin, and I don't know why. I think it's partly because we've got the Noticer here with Taffy Dog in 3rd place, but Shin in 4th now. Coolbury's back to 2nd, easing away from his Western Sydney Racing teammates. The sun is setting behind the pine trees here in this beautiful circuit of Trial Mountain. I hope we do get to see a little bit of sunset, because it's stunning here at Trial Mountain. It's golden hour, certainly. One for the photographers here as they break out of the tunnel. It's got to be quite challenging for them. In fact, let's have a look. Oh, we couldn't quite catch it. We'll have another look next time round, I think. The Noticer in P7. Tango starting his 34th lap of the 36, with Coolbury's only just entering the 3rd sector of the racetrack. The Noticer has the fastest lap of 1:42.388, and Taffy Dog is settling into 3rd place now, starting to open a little gap and get a little bit more comfortable as the fuel comes off. I think his tyres are looking good. Crammy down the inside into the penultimate corner. Synchronized slides there. Unfortunately, Shin, though, doing exactly what the Noticer did the previous lap and getting that penultimate corner wrong and out of shape. Down to 7th then now for Shin. Unfortunately, that sucks, I'm afraid, for Shin, our newest racer here at Project Racing. The Noticer taking absolute liberties, but Crammy getting it going wrong there that time as well. Let's see what happened to Crammy as he goes through. He's following Taffy Dog. He's got a driver closing in behind him. I think that was just plain and simple. That was overspeed. Look at Taffy Dog spinning. Oh, wow. Taffy Dog has got to be wondering what he can do here today to get a decent result, because at every phase of the race he has suffered ferociously bad luck or bad judgment from his rivals. Possibly there wasn't really luck, that situation, was it? But with just 2.5 laps to run, That's a really, really tough one to take for him. However, his misfortune is Tarmac Terror's sweet sweet luck at the moment as he runs into the tunnel. Let's just see what that setting sun feels like as we head directly due west here. We will see that setting sun in our eyes as we come through the tunnel. It is pitch black in the tunnel, and there you can see actually there's a little bit of haze in the atmosphere, so it's not direct sun into their eyes. There goes the noticer running wide. That's Taffy Dog with a back to full functionality car. Couldn't quite take advantage of that run, but certainly on the hard tyres this is going to be a difficult one for Taffy Dog. I think he's going to do well to finish in the top 4, I think, here today. Tarmac Terror might just be able to secure a fabulous podium. The noticer started at the back. He was as high as 2nd place just a few laps ago, but into this very corner has been problematic for the police today. As Taffy Dog sweeps around the outside of the noticer, tries to get the slipstream on the Ferrari driver in front for Redline Syndicate Racing. Now, would be a tremendously rare and very welcome thing for Redline Syndicate to get a double podium here and both be on the champagne. Tell me that Crammy isn't about to wipe someone else out. Oh, wow. That was so close. Crammy so loose into this first sector. How does he thread the needle here between the two? As soon as you get on the grass here, there's no grip. He almost wiped out Taffy Dog again. He almost took out the noticer. He did. Oh no, take out Shin, and there was Tarmac Terror with an error as well, I think. Let's see what happened to Tarmac Terror as he comes through. It's the penultimate lap of the race. A misjudgment possibly. Yep. As he gets dirty tyres, skids, contact with the barrier. 0 to 0 stuff for maybe the well, certainly not the first time today, unfortunately. The noticer tucking back round. Taffy Dog has spun. There he goes round Taffy Dog. Unfortunately, down to last place. Last place for the Western Sydney Racing driver. How on earth did this one happen? He avoided the trouble that happened earlier on. And then he's running out of tyres. It's cold under the tunnel, perhaps. Temperature's dropping. And just as he spins, unfortunately, the noticer collecting him. Taffy Dog. Well, a rage quit would not be unjustified at this point for Taffy here as Shin gets tangled up with the noticer again. How does Tarmac Terror go from plumb last to back to potentially 3rd position here? I do not know. It is a survival job now. It's almost destruction derby happening here at Project Racing's Tardis Cup Round 7 of the championship. Certainly, you've got Tango closing in to start his final lap. The main bulk of the drivers are on the north straight here, so lots to do still. Round the outside goes Shin. The 2 Mercedes getting the overtakes done, and certainly I think Tarmac Terror will be hoping that the Mercedes complicate life for themselves here as the race comes towards its final lap. Well, our leader is on his very final lap, but there's really very little point watching someone driving an impeccable race while absolute carnage is going on through the rest of the battles. Here comes Shin down the inside. Can she do the overtake into the penultimate corner? Well, it's certainly helped by Crammy getting too deep into the corner. Shin though with a snap oversteer on throttle on the exit. And they just continue to go through this one. Tarmac Terror heads in towards the Bête Noire section of the racetrack for him. Let's hope he can hold it together. Just take it a little bit easier through here. Let's hope no one else goes spinning wide. Shin was just a little bit narrow, a little bit tight into the corner. Taffy Dog is still too far back off this group. Tarmac Terror, though, through the tunnel. What is going on this racetrack? I cannot understand this. I see. Okay, so Tarmac Terror did, in fact, not make a mistake going into the tunnel. This is someone else's mistake as we head on here. That is just the noticer clean smashing in. That is Crammy following the noticer. I think possibly the noticer was being sporting there and allowing the drivers to come back through after making his own mistake. But, well, this fiendishly difficult trial mountain circuit is proving its credentials time and time again through the course of this Project Racing Tardis Cup round. The noticer will have a 2-second penalty. That will be doubled at the end of the race, unfortunately for him. But Tango is already in the final corner of the racetrack. A completely impeccably driven, a completely impeccably painted and finished car. The Ferrari crosses the line. Tango back on the winner's step of the podium here, and taking his 5th win of this season now here in round 7 of the championship. Cool Breeze will be coming through. There's not much to watch for Cool Breeze's sake though, because Tarmac Terror, well, he has 3 corners to go. He'll be listening to every little thing that the car is every noise the car is making, everything that's being transmitted through his steering inputs. Crammy, don't ruin it now. Down deep into the final chicane they go. Tarmac Terror, Crammy completely went long into that corner. Let's maybe have another look at that from Crammy's perspective. Looked like almost he was going to turn Tarmac Terror around. Tarmac Terror puts the brakes on. Crammy was just boomed, just way too late into the corner. Can Tarmac Terror hang on here? He's tiptoeing around the final couple of corners. He's got barely any grip remaining on the car. Tarmac Terror will take a double podium for Redline Syndicate Racing. A fantastic drive from Tarmac Terror in the end, maybe relative to the drivers around him. Taffy Dog finishing in 4th, Shin in 5th with a great result. Crammy in 6th, the Noticer finishing where he started. I don't quite know how that worked, but no question in my mind is that the driver of the day is Tarmac Terror in 3rd place. Cool Breeze in 2nd, Tango with another fabulous win. What an absolute barnstormer of a race we just enjoyed here at Project Racing. Once again, it's been fantastic, so much fun. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for doing all the good stuff on the channel. And, well, I will hopefully be able to recover my voice in time for the next time we go racing with Project Racing.